How you doing? Is it warm where you are? It's definitely warm where I am. How you doing? Welcome back to part 3. Thank you for joining. If you have no clue as to what I'm on about, this week I am doing a series all about your business goals. So part 1 and part 2 are live on the podcast or over here. But today I am sharing some behind the scenes stuff of things that I have definitely struggled with in terms of my business. So lots of these things that I'm sharing with you today do come up in my client sessions, and but those stories are not mine to tell. So I've really gone back to my own things that I've been working through personally, and lots of them are still a work in progress. Some of them I've really got to grips with, but I've been on this kind of coaching journey for 10 years now, and I really don't buy into the fact that things just happen overnight or we figure it all out. I often think that these things take a bit of time to work through. So on day 1, we talked about your business goals, your big vision, where you're going, what's important to you, what is your next chapter of your business, of your work, of your career, of your creativity. What does that look and feel like? And then yesterday we did a reflection exercise all about really checking in with where you are right now. So I gave the analogy that we just can't keep visioning bigger and bigger and writing more lists and creating more vision boards. The clue is, in terms of how we move forward, the clue is what is going on for us right now. Because there is no one path to success, despite what people say, just do these 3 things and you'll be great. You have to tweak them. You have to make them bespoke for yourself. Because if you don't, it's almost like you're trying on somebody else's clothes and they never quite fit. So if you can make these to measure essentially and really figuring out, right, okay, what do I need? Where am I going next? It's going to help you along the way. So I have a series of things that I want to share with you today when I was preparing for this live, because today's session is going to be about the gaps in between. So you know where you are right now, maybe you've established that, and then you know where you want to get to. And there are many things, probably factors, pieces that are between you where you are right now and where you're going. And that will be very, very different depending on where you're up to, where you're going, what kind of goal it is, etc. So today I wanted to give you some more sort of mindset tips and techniques, because for me, this has often been the biggest hurdle, the biggest obstacle for me, that I need to get in control of my own thinking. And this is really difficult sometimes because I am nearly 42 years old and I have a lot of things that are imprinted in the way that I do things. And yet, if I want to do something different, I have to think quite differently as well. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is that I, for a long time, would get stuck in things having to be perfect, things having to be all kind of sorted and 100%, and everything sort of, I don't know, kind of getting it across the line. I didn't feel like until things were complete, I couldn't say anything, I couldn't do anything. And this is a limiting belief for me, certainly, because what that delay, what that need for perfection or that need for completion was costing me was many things. I wasn't getting going. I didn't realize that bringing people on part of the process when I'm building something or creating something was a really great way to welcome customers and sales once I'd actually launched the thing. And also that put an enormous amount of pressure on myself, feeling like I had to be perfect, that everything had to be sorted. And it's just not the case. Many of us are human beings, and also there is so much value to get from testing something, from putting something out there, from having a go, from putting yourself in the game. And when I went back to hot yoga a year last April, I was hugely disappointed after the first week, because I thought this would be something that I would do for a couple of months and then I'd be good to go. Not the case, my friends, not the case. Nearly 18 months later, I am still very much going back to a beginner's mindset, and I'm building again slowly but surely. So today, with each of these lessons, I want to give you something that's going to flip it around and give you a different perspective, because that's what I need in those moments personally. I need something that's going to quickly change my state, or give me a different perspective, or something else that's going to sort of add something to the mix. And this for me is, are you doing this or not? And you'll notice as well, a lot of these voices are quite sassy for me personally. I don't do this with my clients, by the way. I say it in a much kinder, more compassionate way. But with myself, and again, you might be psychoanalyzing me, but that's where we are today. I will say to myself, are you doing this or not? Are you doing this or not? Are you in or are you out? And usually my response is to that question, well, yeah, I am doing this. I want to do it. It's really important to me. And then the next voice that comes in is, well, crack on then. Get on with it. Start making moves. Have a go. Experiment. Send the email. Move. Come on. We can do this. And sometimes it just needs that momentum in the beginning to get a wriggle on. And once you get a wriggle on, you figure things out really, really quick, but kind of, keeping behind the scenes. And I often talk about this as well with clients that have service-based business, but I use the sort of product-based business as another example. If you were, as a shop owner, if you had a shop on the high street, if you were constantly behind the scenes, rearranging stuff on the shelves, sorting out the back room, and you never put yourself out onto the shop floor, people wouldn't know you. People wouldn't have conversations with you. You wouldn't get to know your clients. You wouldn't observe what people are looking at, what they're talking about, what's going on, what their needs and wants are. And I think it's so easy to do this as service-based businesses sometimes, is to hide and to stay behind the scenes and be tweaking I'm not saying put absolute rubbish out there, absolutely not. But we can really psychoanalyze a paragraph or two. And sometimes it's do you know what? I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to see if anybody lands on my sales page. And then I'll know. If they don't, right, I need to go back in and tweak it and check it again. But what happens is, for a lot of people, there's so much emphasis, there's 6 months on building something. And the beauty of building a website or putting yourself out there is you can have a couple of pages at a time. When you've got another 2 or 3 hours to create the next one, great, add it in. Your navigation bar will be come on in, yeah, add the next one, no problem at all. So that's my first question for you. Are you in or are you out? And to remind you and to say that it's okay that you're not going to have perfect conditions. And as much as we all would like to, or as much as we convince ourselves that one day life will be perfect and we'll have the exact amount of energy and time and money and enthusiasm and resources, etc., I don't believe that that's true. And I don't believe that we should wait for one particular day. It's sort of like New Year's Eve for me. I know everybody builds it up it's the best night of the year. And I can probably count on one hand how many amazing nights I've had on New Year's Eve. The rest, it's yeah, it's fine. We just kind of, we stayed in, we had a takeaway, we went to bed, and that was it. That pressure, it's too much sometimes, and sometimes it can just bubble over. So start. If you're on the journey, do it. Take action. Do one thing. Number 2, I for a long time would stay in places. I would stay in situations. I would almost like have a story running in my head for months and months and months, and I wasn't breaking it. And the more I talked about it, the more I went on about it, the more that became part of my identity. Now, I will say, I have definitely had years, certainly over the last 8 since I've become a mum, where I have been so broken with exhaustion. It's no wonder that I was stuck in those places. It's no wonder, like, we're not supposed to exist on 2 hours sleep a night or waking up every 45 minutes. We're just not. So there's a lot of compassion that I'm giving to that sort of past self of myself. But then there have been other times when, thanks for coming to my therapy session, where maybe I've become really attached to that story of myself and it's become part of my identity, even though it wasn't necessarily true. So one of the things that I used to do all of the time is say, I'm stuck. I'm really stuck. I just don't know how to move forward. I just don't know. Like, I'm just stuck. And you can see, even as I'm saying it to you now, that it's not giving me anything. Saying how stuck I was not going to help me. It's a very kind of full stop sort of statement. And this is how I've got out of it. And maybe you can take some of these kind of questions to whatever is going on for you. Yours might not be, I'm stuck. It may be something completely different. But see what comes up for you. So instead of accepting, I'm stuck, I used that as an opportunity to investigate it. Because ultimately, if I click in with the person that I want to be, I don't want to be a person who's stuck. In fact, that would be the worst thing for me. I could have sitting in the same chair, and I always felt like this at school, sitting in the same chair for the next 30 years and everything being so predictable and so transactional and like, I don't know, celebrating on a Wednesday because it was happy hump day. None of that would have worked for me in the slightest. I would have been a very disruptive team member, like, should we go for lunch? Where should we go? What should we do? And because I really thrive on that creativity and difference and challenge, and I love that personally. And so what I noticed was I was actually becoming a person that I did not want to become. I was letting that I'm stuck take over all of the good stuff and almost squash them down. And so I went back to basics. And I decided to get my trusty toolkit of open questions out. And these are your what, where, how, who, why. And they are so golden in this situation because your open questions don't let you get away from it. Your open questions almost are like the Blues Brothers who turn up at your door going, right, we are going to find the answer to this. And we're not leaving until we really know what is going on here. And so what I begun to do was to use these open questions and ask myself, why was I not making progress? What was really going on? And how could I? And again, and I didn't believe that this could be possible anyway. In other situations, I believe that it can, but I knew that I was going to have to do this slowly but surely. This wasn't going to be an overnight, like I just went behind the curtain and out I come a brand new person. That wasn't the case at all. But I really had to begin to investigate what was going on underneath. Why am I feeling that? Well, I can tell you one thing, you need some sleep. When you get really, really tired, you get so stuck in your own thought patterns. Why would you not? Like, you're so exhausted. And so once you start to say, how could I move forward? How could I do this? So one of the things that helped me to stop feeling so stuck is to create a journaling practice for myself. And sometimes when I was even too tired to feel like I could write, I would just speak into my voice note app on my phone. And that did the same thing. That allowed me to move forward. Number 3. Do you believe it? So you might write your big goals, and maybe you did those exercises yesterday, but do you believe it? And there is this thing sometimes of, I'll believe it when I see it. So there are some skeptical people, you can see them, can't you, with their arms folded, who want to see it before they actually believe it. But sometimes what you want to do and the direction you want to go in and the brilliance that you want to create, sometimes you're going to have to believe it first. And sometimes you can lean on others going, well, she did it, maybe I can do it. How would that? Oh, well, she's the same as me, or I've got a similar kind of background or training, or, well, she showed me her system, so maybe that's possible for me. And this has been an interesting thing sometimes, especially as a child. You know, I really learnt this early on because I knew I wanted to come to London and be an actor. And I had a plan for myself. I believed that it was possible. I believed that I could do it because everything in my body was saying, go, take the next step. Yep, figure it out. Phone this person, write a letter to this person in the post, like take action, keep moving forward, keep searching for evidence. And my current reality, apart from a few people, were like, that's never going to happen. Things don't happen like that to people like us. Don't get your hopes up. All of that sort of stuff. And so in a way, I couldn't wait to actually achieve the thing or actually do the thing and then show everybody, because in order to get the thing, I had to believe that it was possible. And so what I encourage you to do, again, use these what, where, how, why questions to really dig into it. Because sometimes my clients or conversations that I have with people will say, yeah, I want to like make this amount of money this year, or want to do X, Y, and Z. And then I can sometimes feel it, or sometimes they'll say it, but they're like, I don't know if I could actually do that. And so that for me is always an indication of like, okay, let's dig in. Let's see what's underneath. Let's see what needs to shift. Let's see what might be standing in the way. Because quite often my clients will say things to me, I'm like, you can totally do that. You absolutely, there's nothing about that I'm like, really? Very, very rarely. And certainly if I didn't know the answer, that's not my job. My job is to facilitate you and to help you to get there. So what I need to do here when I'm in that moment of do I actually believe it is to break it down, get into the nitty gritty. And how can I create the first part? So if I was running a marathon, for example, and this is one of my dreams, I haven't done it yet. I've done only a half. I mean, it's still a bloody long way, isn't it? But if I was going to work towards a marathon, the way that I would do it is I would have to be able to have that feeling that I was banking miles. Great, I can get to this number of miles. Okay, great. The next one. Okay, I've hit that marker now. We have to break down this vision, because sometimes when we create a vision for the next 10 years, it's so overwhelming, it's so huge, and it actually doesn't help us. Number 4. Okay, I have noticed this pattern in my life sometimes of being in a rush, like full pelt, let's go, let's do all of the things. And then running out of steam almost, and just almost landing in a heap, feeling really burnt out, and not doing what I need to do in order to sustain that go. And now these days, I work much more in a slowly but surely but purposefully way. And what I mean by this is I know there will be times in my business and in my life where things are full on. There's no sort of wiggle room. It's just go, 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 get out the door, do the thing. You're in a launch. The tape's got to be in by midday, whatever it is. But I am also recognizing the power of that slower pace in day-to-day life as well. So I usually start off my day very, very early. That's my preference before the children wake up. I mean, they sleep a bit better now, but that is always my preference. So I start the day like building momentum. So I'm much better in the mornings if I need to do meetings, if I need to do pitches, or if I have a speaking gig, for example, I will or recording for a podcast or an audition or whatever it might be. I will always make that preference to do it in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I have much more of a sort of settling time, a much more like, okay, I've now planted the seeds and now I'm going to trust that I've done enough. So almost like this run that I've been working on recently, it's a 7.7K run. And the other day when I did it, it was just hot and awful. And I just thought, why am I running? Why is this a good idea? But it was, you know, the fact that I got there halfway, I was like, okay, I've done halfway. I can do this. I can absolutely do this. But this run is very sort of up and down hilly. If it was on a graph, it would be like that. And so what I've learned with this and how you can apply it to your business is I run those hills and I feel it. I really feel it. Like I'm not one of these people, these runners who's like, a hill, what's that? Like I can just sprint up it, no problem. I use that as an opportunity to go, right, okay, I'm feeling my legs. I'm in the process. I'm making, and sometimes I'll feel it in my breathing as well, where I'm like, right, get it out, off we go. And then when I go on the other side of the hill, I make sure I enjoy it. I make sure that I almost feel the fruits of my labor. Like this is happening. This feels great. Oh, that was really good. So rather than being like, go, 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 go. Oh my goodness, it feels really hard. And then splat, I'm trying to create that much more of a rhythm moment. And I'm going to be doing that in my working week as well. So I really want to have 4 days where I'm going, okay, let's go and really enjoy my work. Friday is going to be a bit of an in-between day, so finishing stuff off. And then the weekends I really want to have as sort of playtime. That's my ultimate sort of goal at the moment. So notice your own rhythm. Is it serving you? Is it helping you along the way? And if it isn't, it's now time to make some tweaks. It's now time to look at things and really analyze your own behavior. Because lots of the clues are in terms of your progress, in terms of where you go next, are within you. And this is tricky because sometimes we hope that it's going to be some outside thing that we haven't learned yet, or something that somebody hasn't told us yet. But honestly, one of the best things that you can do right now is to analyze what is going on for you. What's happening? What's standing in your way? Where are you stuck? What are your patterns of behavior? Now, these may be a couple of things. One, you might not be in alignment. So one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is I'm beta testing my new offering, which is called Press Play. And one of the things that I notice is that a lot of people are out of alignment. They haven't fully embodied what it is that they want to do. So they create the beautiful website, they write the beautiful paragraphs, everything's looking lovely, they've ticked it off, it's very sort of heady. But when it comes to actually bringing it to life, they're just not doing that. So maybe they haven't worked out what they need to say out loud in terms of a sales call. They haven't thought about how they describe to people what they actually do. So I keep saying, I'm not going to use this phrase, but it might be one that you recognize. This for me is combining my acting and my coaching and sort of doing a bit of role play with you. I'm going to ditch that phrase completely because it's really cheesy and actually not what it is. Not in that sort of traditional sense. But what I do want to say is I can be that other person for you. This is where I really want to help people with their personal brand, with their portfolio career, in terms of bringing it all to life, to be able to talk on these lives, to be able to conduct a sales call and feel really confident and good about saying the price at the end of it. To go in and pitch and not let your nerves get the best of you because you know you've done all of your work. Now, this is not like a tried and tested method of like, just do these 3 things and you will always get 100% yes. Actually, you're probably not going to get 100% yes. Sometimes different factors are a consideration. But what we're trying to do here is build up to a place where you feel so confident, you feel in alignment. And as Matty and I always say, if we go for auditions, it's just that case of being good, not even excellent, good every time. You set that bar for yourself. You set that level for yourself, that standard, that expectation that people will have, like, okay, I'm going to call her in because I know that she's going to come up with the goods. I know she's going to be sharp. I know she's going to have learnt the lines, and off we go in that way. Part 4 is coming really, really soon. It may happen later on today, depending on how I get on with client work, and it may be live tomorrow. We will see how we go. It's probably going to be tomorrow because I've got quite a busy day, but I hope you got something from today. Also, if you want to work with me for 30 days, I am opening up spots for a week on Monday. So what is that? That is the 18th of September. I have space for a few people who want to do a 30-day check-in daily, work with me one-on-one. It's £500 all in. You also get a course as part of that too. So we can have a conversation about which one of those would suit you. This strategy session is going to be perfect for you if you need to get going, some momentum, you've got a long list of stuff that you need to and you want to do, and you are ready. There are 4 parts to that. There is that online course, as I mentioned. There's the pre-work where I send you pre-work and really get to know your business and where you want to go next. I then go and do my own preparation, so then when we meet in person, you don't have to spend like the first half filling me in and telling me all the stories. We will have done that in advance of our session. I'm also thinking about doing some of these sessions at the Oxo Tower in London because I went there last weekend for my dad's birthday and it was amazing. It was a really like high vibe place, sitting on the Thames. It was beautiful. So if that's something that you're interested in as well, doing it face to face, maybe that could be an option. There are various other places that I love as well, or you can come here to North London, or we can do this online, because I know some people are still like, I don't really want to leave my house, which again is absolutely fine. The final part is the 30 days. Okay, I'm doing it. Each and every day when I work with people in this way, I carve out time in my diary. I'm going to do it after I've done this, where I go back to people. So I have that time each and every day to respond to my monthly clients. And that means that there is somebody holding that space for your big dreams, the things that you're working on, and it's going to make you do it. And I know sometimes with these growth programs or courses or things like that, you can get really lost, or you can get busy or overwhelmed. And sometimes it's just a voice note of, I had it with a client the other day where she was like, I've had a really busy day, but just wanted to say this one thing came through and I now know what to do with that part of my business. And in 2 sentences, she had moved forward. And yeah, that was really lovely. And I often question what would happen if we're left to our own devices. And I know unless I've got somebody, and I don't have it all the time, but in the things that I want to grow and I want to grow fast, it's so lovely having someone in your corner and knowing exactly what you want to do, because sometimes it requires a different level of identity. It's great for other people to see you in a different way. So yeah, if you want one of those, just DM me, or you can email me, or just use my fancy, I love it so much, my messenger button on my website. You can just tell me what you're looking for, what you need. If you need to have a call in advance, then let's do that. But those spots are from the 18th of September. That is when we're going to be getting going. So within that kind of that week or the following week, to get our face-to-face or our online time in together, that's the sort of time scale I'm looking at. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.